No, but honestly, my favorite Pixar movie is Shark's Tale.
I thought you were dead.
Sun out of your eyes and be yourselves.
Heard you were dead.
She's dead, wrapped in plastic.
That man's dead back there.
It was worse than dead. Must be dead. Is this a dead man, Doctor?
Hello, welcome to the Roast Mortem Podcast. I am Tom Saltman.
Woo! I am Travis.
I am Cody.
Well, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And we're here to rip it tonight.
We're going to rip things.
We got something special for you. You might actually be listening to this podcast on a format created by tonight's specimen. But
What?
Before we get into that, Travis, how is your week going?
My week is going fantastic. I pooped. I count my poops. So I pooped probably about 15 times this week.
You said 26 this month?
26. It's 26 this month.
Right.
Wow. So you got a running tally.
Yeah.
Second week of the month. Okay, cool.
How's your
I'm gonna
pit
do it.
crew handling the situation?
My what?
Your pit crew?
God, I want to see
My-
what those fucking guys look like.
My pit crew is, they're pretty dirty. They're dirty boys.
And Cody, how was your week?
It was good. Very relaxful. Didn't do too much. Did some
Relaxful.
programming. Relaxful.
Never heard
Inventing
that
words.
one. I like
yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah.
Inventing. I'm being a visionary of the lexicon and such.
Beautiful. Very
Dude.
dank.
What's a lexicon? Is that like when you drive a Lexus?
I don't know. I just tried to use it as a sexy word.
That's like a-
lexicon. I think it means like grammar.
Yeah.
What else we got? Cody, who are we chopping up today?
Oh, it's my turn?
Yeah.
Shit! We got the one, the only, Stephen Jobs on our mortician slab today.
But Cody,
yeah.
he's a visionary, and he reinvented the way we think about computers, and everyone loves computers.
Everyone loves this turtleneck-wearing visionary schmuck. I do a little bit still, currently.
I mean, credit where credit's due, but I'm over it. I'm fucking over it.
Yeah.
Who the fuck rocks a turtleneck?
Excellent point, especially indoors. Like, all
Yeah.
the keynotes were indoors.
Yeah, in Southern California.
Oh, my, yeah. You know,
He's fucking hot. I was just there. It's hot.
fucking hot over
It's hot over there.
It's hot.
Fucking hot.
It was
It's hot.
probably covering up some psoriasis or something.
Uh,
Little mouth breather nerd.
True
total
mouth.
nerd.
Total
Steve
nerd.
Jobs.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs, everybody. I think this is my freshest kill, actually.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Mm.
My most up-to-date specimen. Let's start this bitch off with a little bit of trivia. You know what Steve Jobs drove?
He was a convertible. He drove a Volkswagen. No, totally wrong.
He drove.
Yeah, it is. Totally wrong.
Wait, it is wrong.
Yeah,
Good.
perfect. Perfectly
Good
wrong.
thing. All right.
He drove Bugattis.
He did not drive a Bugatti. His vehicle of choice was a 2008 Mercedes, silver color.
How did he get that in 2004?
I don't know.
Isn't?
He time traveled, but the interesting thing with his vehicle of choice is he never got it registered. Or at least he never put a plate on it because California had a loophole where a car didn't need a placard or a plate 6 months after you bought it.
Mm-hmm.
So this fucker, in order to like circumvent that, he would just buy a new Mercedes every 6 months, just to never go
So
through
he-
the paperwork of getting it plated.
So he had a
All right.
disposable Mercedes.
Yeah, he just
Kind of.
threw it the fuck out, I guess, afterwards. Or
He probably
Wait.
donated it to his
Cars
son.
for kids.
Yeah, Cars for Kids.
Oh.
Yeah, he probably donated it to someone that had time to like put a plate on it. or
If you
something
don't know
like
what Cars for Kids is, it's a bunch of Jews ripping off hardworking people, and look into it. It's a
Yeah.
scam.
Yeah. It
Big
is.
old scam.
And they have the worst fucking commercials.
Yeah.
1-800 Cars for Jews. Donate your car
That's
today.
the number. That's the number. One of the things he did with this car was habitually park in handicapped spots. So let that.
Well, I mean, all right, he's already a dirtbag. Enough said.
Oh yeah.
If you park,
No.
did he-
I think he might. He may
Enough
have had
said.
good.
Cancel the podcast.
You know what? If you park in a handicapped spot, and he was also driving Mercedes, so he's probably doing that thing where you
Saddles it.
You saddle the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
D-bag.
I hate those people.
Yeah, but where does he actually park? You know,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He's just parking at the office.
At Whole Foods.
right.
Did he
Whole
shop at
Foods.
Whole Foods?
He confirmed Whole Food shopper.
Of course.
Now he's a real
Yeah, I
nitty.
think he publicly berated a Whole Foods employee for something
I believe that.
that was on
yeah,
record.
that sounds about right.
had the sexy $1 salary, your annual $1 salary.
Yeah, but he owned so much of shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
how was he so rich if he only got $1? He must be doing the company a solid.
Steve liked loopholes.
What the hell?
So, yeah, his $1 salary enabled him to, dodge taxes. He pretty much expensed everything and had stock options out the ass. So, money was literally no object
he
because
did
he
own
did
a lot of.
think he had the phrase "think different." I don't know if he was in charge of that, but as a slight English nerd, the proper of that should be "think differently." You know, and
I thought it was
very-
thank Daffer.
"thank dank it,
Thank it.
Yeah,
dank differently."
Is that just his motto or was that the Apple motto?
I don't know.
like,
I don't know.
did he
But it
have an
just
actual
pissed me
motto
off.
for himself? Like, who the hell
Trademark?
does that?
Oh, I have got quotes up the ass for this guy.
All right.
We're gonna say, "Oh, shit, I was." This is something that I find funny. What do you think the I in iPhone stands for? Not a lot of people know this.
Iguana.
No, it just means internet.
internet.
Yeah, I'm just walking
Huh.
around with internet phones in my pocket.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's derivative of the iMac, which was the first internet-based Mac.
Internet Mac.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Internet
But-
Mac.
It actually is weird for the iPod because it's not an internet pod. You download stuff off of iTunes into the pod.
The
but-
original series was not Wi-Fi capable.
no, it couldn't
do anything
Don't
with the
remember
internet.
that if you're a young
So
person.
we got him on false advertising.
Yeah, what a
Put that
chump.
Yeah.
Big old
Also, it wasn't a pod at all.
No.
Like, I feel like the internet pod would be like
It's like a
kind of like the
tablet
mattress.
slate.
You go inside the internet pod.
Some say the user lives
Outside the net, one thing's for sure, reboot.
Thank you, Travis.
Thank you, Shane.
And I have here Steve Woz, an integral character of this episode to Steve, revealed Steve never learned how to code.
I fucking knew it.
Which blows my mind, like, because this man went on tirades on his programmers without knowing thing one of programming. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but that's why it came together. Like, I could do what Steve Jobs does.
yeah,
I could do it.
I'm a programmer.
You couldn't do it because you would think like a programmer.
Oh,
I would think like an asshole.
you think like a Stevie?
yeah,
and I have 30 people underneath me just working on like the icon and how it bounces on the little desktop,
That's
and I will
important.
shit on them. I would just, why not? I could do it better than you could because you understand code.
Right.
That's your drawback. You should never learn that
That's
stuff.
your weakness.
Don't learn that. We
Yeah.
just need to learn with the most infuriating beach ball in the world. How to make
oh
that.
my god, just an animation.
Beach balls are supposed to be fun. I went to the beach to have fun.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't go to wait.
Yeah.
That little icon, that site is like a harbinger of death for people in this room in like a professional standpoint. Because that means perhaps hours of work has been lost if you see that little rotating beach ball icon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It also means that I don't want a Macintosh anymore.
Yeah. I've been
like-
actively phasing one out. All the Mac stuff.
yes.
right.
Yeah. So we're going to shit on this guy, but know full well we do use the products.
Yeah.
A little bit. Just a bit.
Yeah.
As little as I can.
Yes.
Let's get right into Steve Jobs' early life, shall
The
we?
man. The bitch himself.
Stephen Paul Jobs, born February 24th, 1955, to Abdul Fattah Jandali
What?
and Joanne Schiebel in San Fran.
So you're telling me Jobs was a terrorist?
Jobs' pappy was a Syrian man who was a Muslim.
Wait, how do you get jobs? One of them's named Jabang Jumanji, and the other one's like Sheeple.
That's Jandali, and the mother was Joanne Schiebel.
Sheeple.
Schiebel.
Sheeple.
Schiebel.
Sheeple, there you go. That's some Illuminati stuff.
Yeah, dog.
And the Muslim Supreme.
Yeah.
The Illuminati is coming for you.
Illuminati confirmed.
All three of them. If I didn't say it, Jobs fell out in San Francisco.
He fell out of the old
He
giant.
fell out of the old womb.
Wait, but you didn't answer my question. Why is he Jobs?
Here we go.
All right.
Joanne Schiebel's father did not approve of this union because Abdul Fattah was a Syrian Muslim. So Joanne Schiebel resorted to putting the young Steve Jobs
Wait, what
up
was
for
Sheeple?
adoption. What's that?
Excuse me, what was Sheeple?
Joanne Schiebel is his mom.
No, I know, but what nationality?
American.
Just white?
Yeah.
White?
Cali.
Basic?
Yeah.
Pumpkin
Assorted
spice?
cracker.
All right.
I am the real
American.
American. My name is Sheeple.
Thank you.
Joanne's father did not approve of the Syrian nature that was Abdul Fattah. So Joanne resorted to putting him up for adoption, and that's how he gets his name Jobs, from Clara and Paul. Oh, I guess that's where he got his middle name.
Clara and Paul.
Clara and Paul Jobs. Paul was a machinist, and Clara was an accountant. So you can kind of see where he gets his number savvy and his tinkering savvy right there.
And they both won the lotto when they got that kid.
The double-edged sword, Steve Jobs' double-edged sword. But yes, like in retrospect, those parents were like, good pick.
Good on you.
You picked the right one.
We're good at drafting. One of the conditions that Joanne and Abdul Fattah relinquished Steve was Steve had to go to a married couple that had a college education.
Okay.
All right.
At the time, the two were not married, and they did not have a college education.
How the fuck they skate that one?
They, instead of having the education themselves, they offered Steve Jobs a full education at college.
Okay. So
and promising to eventually get married. So they're like,
okay.
Instead of being educated, we will educate him and we will get married. So it looks proper on the surface.
Gotcha.
All right.
The funny thing is, this stipulation that little Stevie must be college educated, like we'll find out later that Stevie just straight up dropped out of college.
That's not on them.
Yeah, that's on
it's
him.
not on them, but like such a big stink was made, like, oh, he needs his education. He needs his college education. And then sure enough, Stevie gets it and then walks away from it just because he's Steven.
Hey, kids, sometimes you don't need to go to college.
Only one of us has a degree, right?
Ah!
That's just...
I regret it!
Yeah, the one guy who has it regrets it.
I regret everything!
But Cody's brain is actually larger than ours. He can't wear baseball caps.
No, it's
No, they don't make his
very
size.
difficult,
Yeah.
actually.
He wears burlap sacks, though.
It works. I can rock it.
You do make it work.
Yeah.
H&M tells me I can rock it.
Yeah, and they know everything about clothes.
Yes, quality cut. We're going to talk about his school years next, and when I say school years, there's air quotes around them, because he rarely, like, adhered to any, like, schooling or regimen of the such. Steve Jobs was a shitty prankster in high school. The faculty asked his father, Paul, to reprimand him, but the thing was, Paul never did that, because Paul, as a child, was abused by his father. So Paul's attempt in breaking the cycle just cultivated a tech brat of the nth degree.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much the recipe of asshat child.
And that's parenting in the 21st century.
Do nothing.
Yeah, back then,
Laissez-faire.
when he was growing up, every other kid was getting fucking slapped across the face.
Right.
He's like my father's age. My dad used to get shit beat out of him for fun.
Just because he was a father,
Yeah.
or eventually a father.
No, I don't think he was actually at the shit beat out of him. But, he gets smacked around.
Yeah.
That was regular back then.
Yeah, I heard back then you walk uphill to school, and then you walk uphill to school, and then you walk uphill to school, and then you walk
Never
uphill.
downhill.
You never go downhill. Back in the day, there were no such thing as downhills.
Well, the Earth had a different gravitational pull to it.
Right. Like Tony Hawk didn't exist back then because there was no downhill jam. So he's a little brat at school.
Yeah. High school, 2.65 GPA. So in school, in college, rather, we know he drops out because that's part of his biopic.
That's how you think differenter.
That's how you think differently.
Oh, excuse me.
But here's the thing. He audited classes after he dropped out. That pretty much means, like, I still want to take the class. I'm not going to pay you. You're not going to grade me. And I'm not going to get a credit.
Great.
Yeah, Moochie.
It's very moochy.
It's gonna be a theme moving forward.
He just wants to learn how, but he doesn't want to be how.
Exactly.
He want to do how it is, but he doesn't want to be.
So he's pretty much sitting in, taking in the learning, not getting charged, drops out of classes for a little bit to go to India on a spiritual retreat. Not a lot of people know that. Starts practicing the Zen Buddhism.
Yeah.
Zen Buddha.
I like to model myself after Buddha because he had a nice bod.
He did have a good bod. He had a sexual bod.
Sexy bod.
There's some slim Buddhas out there, I think.
Fuck them.
Yeah, they're
It's not the real thing.
Didn't do it right.
Wasn't that like a popular? I feel like that was a popular thing at the time, and I'm assuming this is like the 70s, late 60s.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
didn't George Harrison go over there and all
Yeah,
those guys?
that's
He
Probably why.
probably
I mean,
saw him over
right.
there.
Like
Yeah.
George Harrison was probably huge for the Indian tourist revenue.
Oh yeah,
You know, they
Yeah.
got really into that Eastern stuff, which is cool.
right,
I don't really. I wouldn't want to do that.
right. Well, they didn't have any like plumbers union trips over there because they don't have plumbing.
Oh God, public shaming. They need some more of that. when it
We're
comes to
gonna
their
talk
outside
about some
shitting.
public shaming in China.
Oh
We're
yeah.
gonna talk about Chinese public shaming in a bit.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah! So he's over there doing drugs over there.
Yeah, he's in India on a steady diet of Buddhism and psychedelics,
Okay.
as you do in India.
Sounds pretty.
Goes
Western.
on to say, LSD is one of the 2 or 3 most important things I have ever done in my life. And this is a board member of Disney. This is the CEO of Apple. And he's revealing LSD is in the top 3 things he's done.
Okay.
All right.
Very, very interesting.
What were the other
Didn't say.
1 or 2? Because
Yeah,
apparently he's
yeah.
not decisive enough to just pick a number.
Yeah, that's the thing that makes me weirded about this thing is like, how much do you mean this? Because it seemed like you ad-libbed it with the 1 or 2.
Well, number 1 is like joining the Illuminati.
Well,
We can't talk about that.
I think he was a Bilderberg guy, which is different.
That's where they watch you jerk off in a coffin?
Bilderberg.
No, it's Skull and Bones.
Something like that.
Secret society. And when he came back, he was crashing on friends' dorm room floors. He was returning recyclables for money, and he enjoyed free meals at the behest of the local Hare Krishna temple.
Great.
So, grade A mooch. This sounds like a lovely homeless man of our era. Just, let me sleep on your floor. Let me take your empties. He's done this by choice.
Probably doesn't wear shoes because it's harmful to the earth.
He doesn't wear shoes. Great trap.
He doesn't wear shoes?
No! He doesn't wear shoes.
Fuck
It's
him.
gross.
We're done.
We're done here. That's Steve Jobs, everyone. Go home.
Cancel the podcast.
Wear some goddamn shoes.
Everybody.
And we're going to move on to his early professional years now. So this is when he's not, I'm calling it his early professional years because he's not actually in league with Apple yet. This is like his pre-Apple fuckery.
Prapple.
Pre-Apple fuckery. He created the blue box with the Woz. Steve Wozniak.
All right, you have to tell me a little bit more about him.
You know what freaking is? With a PH. Freaking.
Freak?
Is that one of those trends like planking where kids would just go to things and lay flat on them?
It was a trend. It wasn't trendy as that, though. Freaking is considered hacking of phones.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah, so back in the day, there weren't computers, so the hackers hacked phones instead.
So it's like prank calling, or how do they hack a phone?
There's a little bit of prank calling. We'll get into that.
All right.
Freaking, you made a tone generator, which you would play into the receiver of a phone, and the receiver of the phone would then give you perks. The phone system would give you perks based on the hertz you put into the receiver.
Okay, so you're like sending a signal to the system. It's like, oh, you got to go. We were going to redirect you here.
Instead of any type of code or binary that a computer would read,
Yeah.
its language was that of tonal.
Yeah,
Specific.
you can't send ones and zeros through a line.
Yeah.
So they used tones. And the blue box used a tone that would give the owner free long distance,
Great.
which back in the day, phones charged you by the minute. And
Yeah.
we had minutes to look
Minutes.
after. And like, if you went over minutes, you started getting overtime. And one of the easiest ways to burn up your minutes was long distance calling.
Yeah, because
That-
they were worth more.
Yep, exactly.
That are calling those really funny hotlines and the sexy ones.
Yeah, I have big tits. You better trust me.
Yeah.
You better hear them.
What are you
Better hear 'em.
You better hear them.
You hear what they sound like? You hear what they sound like?
Oh, yeah, those are some saucy tits.
Yeah, it's a big ol'...
We got a soundboard.
We're having fun.
Yeah. If you want a good example of one of those hotlines, look up Freddy the Freak on YouTube. Hilarious.
Okay.
So we mentioned crank calling. This isn't Steve, but we can have a little bit of fun with. It is a Steve, not our Steve. It is Steve Woz.
Wozniak.
Yep,
We're going to refer to him as the Woz.
Woz. Yeah, that's how. I think that's on his business card. He has a very cool business card, by the way. It's like
Is it 3
Aluminum.
inches of steel and
Yeah.
gold?
it's machined aluminum or something like that.
Pretty
Nice.
sexual.
The Woz used his blue box to ring up the Vatican once and impersonated Kissinger and asked to speak to the Pope.
Great.
Nice.
The only thing that went wrong was he didn't account for the time of day, and the
Oh.
Pope was sleeping.
Of
Unfortunately.
course.
Ah.
So I think if he calculated his time
Hello,
zone.
is the Pope there? Is his refrigerator running? Well, you better go send naked 5-year-olds out to get it.
Also, most people don't realize Steve was an Atari boy.
An Atari boy.
He worked for Atari.
Oh.
That's pretty much a nerd's wet dream back in the day. Like, oh, I work for Atari.
Yeah, you want to work under Nolan Bushnell.
Yeah, Nolan Bushnell is one of my favorites. I hope he never dies. Hope he's never on this podcast.
He's still kicking. Wow.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, he's just going to live for another 200 years.
Yeah, he's good. He's got Chuck E. Cheese under his belt.
Yeah.
Anyone ever hear of a game called Breakout?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much Arkanoid, right?
It's basically like Pong with one person.
one player Pong, but instead of an opponent, you just have a brick wall that you got to work through without losing your balls.
It's a great game.
Steve was in charge of that, and he approached Wozniak, aka the Woz, with a proposition. Steve approached the Woz and said, "Hey, I'm getting paid $700 to make Arkanoid. You want to go 50-50 on this? And the Woz, looking at, the setup and everything, was like, yeah, this is easy for me. I will gladly do this for you and go 50-50 on $700. But apparently, Arkanoid actually offered Steve Jobs $5K.
What a cunt!
Yeah. Instead of the 50-50, Wozniak earned $350 and Stevie took home $4,650, $4,650.
That's a lot of scratch back then, too.
Yeah.
Because what year is this? 1984?
in there somewhere,
Yeah.
sure. That's very dirtbaggish because if you think about it, the Woz is his childhood friend. Like, he knew this guy since he was, I think, Steve was 13 and Woz was 18 at the time.
I mean, that's shady as fuck. It's just terrible.
So he
Doing it to your
pocketed
friend.
$4,650. King's ransom back in the day.
So Steve Jobs took $4,000 to spend on sex clams.
Yeah.
And then what'd he do?
You heard it here.
Steve
Real news.
One Steve shanked the other Steve financially by withholding information. And I think it was Travis, you mentioned barefootedness earlier, didn't you?
Yeah, filthy hippies.
Steve Jobs got a, how do we call this, reprimand of a transfer to night shift because he was a stinky boy. Apparently Steve refused to shower and walked everywhere barefoot. So Atari was just like, we need to get you out of the daylight.
This is coming from Atari. Like, Nolan Bushnell used to have business meetings in a hot tub with supermodels and heroin.
Nolan Bushnell's a grizzly man. The fact that this grizzled man had to shut down Steve Jobs from being too stinky during the daylight operating hours.
Fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Stinky boy.
Interesting side, the original Apple I computer was priced at $666.66.
Dude!
And it wasn't anything satanic. It was just they wanted to get a third above wholesale.
No, it's
500.
satanic.
Oh.
Going back to the Bilderbergs.
6666.
They couldn't
Illuminati.
just, they couldn't just eat $6.60 and just make it $660?
Steve Jobs was a fucking control freak.
Yeah, what a nerd.
He also believed in Satan. I mean, he's making his computer worth, the mark of the beast.
Yeah.
I just said that was, he just wanted a third over the
No, I don't
retail.
believe that.
If you were listening to this podcast 30 seconds ago and you heard Cody say something, we have the real information here. He believed in Satan.
Nobody yes and me. I'll just do this shit by myself.
Yes, and Satan!
Fucker starts Apple in his garage, putting pieces together with the Woz. I
Wasn't
think
his mom and dad's garage? Or?
yeah,
Right.
yeah. He's putting boards together with Woz. I think his sister's actually helping out too. I have a question for you. When do you think the world first noticed Apple?
Isaac Newton.
Whoa!
I'm leaving. You guys suck. Fuck you. You guys are rehearsing without me.
Not at all.
No way.
We're just synced
Didn't
up.
plan that.
Couple dudes.
Yeah, we're both part of the Illuminati 666.
When do you think the world learned of Steve Jobs' Apple?
I'm gonna go with
Very iconic event.
World's Fair. Do they still do those then? I
No,
don't know.
it was
I'm gonna say the
it was-
4th of July.
it was a Super Bowl thing. Do you remember?
Oh, is it the commercial
Yeah,
with
that thing.
That is
Remember
a
that?
cool commercial.
That was cool. You remember the commercial, Tom?
Oh, wait, it's with a bunch of people wearing turtlenecks?
No, no, it wasn't that.
It's a very Soviet-looking.
Yeah, it was like 1984.
factory, and then
And a bunch of people are just staring at this like huge TV screen, and like there's a figure on it that's like obey, consume.
Isn't that funny how it came out in 1984
Yeah,
with
it
the George
goes-
Orwell thing?
No. That's it. Wasn't the year 19. I don't think it was the year 1984, but the commercial was codenamed 1984 because of the
Orwell.
thing.
Gotcha.
And like some short-haired like fit chick like pretty much hammer throws a hammer
right.
as inefficiently as possible, it seems, into like the big screen, freeing all the audience members.
Wait, so they made that commercial when they're still in their basement?
I don't know, but we jumped around. We're in
Okay,
his
so
main
they built
professional years.
themselves.
Well, the,
Yeah,
Apple,
gotcha.
the Apple II, I don't think it was that much of a jump between the Apple I and the Apple II. The Apple II just had a casing. It was made for public
Right.
consumerism.
Yeah, I think
The Apple I was like a glorified prototype that
Yeah,
got
not
built
too
a few
sure, but
times
I
and
think
sent
so.
around. Yeah, I think that was the case.
And I also read apparently the Apple III just melted.
Toast.
Yeah,
Straight
no, it
melted.
never actually went to the public, and it was just like marketers telling the Woz to make the Apple III.
Jesus Christ.
It's like, it won't work. It won't work, Captain.
How much do you think that commercial cost?
$18.
Even million.
Even million.
Cool mill.
I don't know. Wait, I don't know if that was the cost or like the airtime. It sounds like the airtime.
I actually looked up the airtime. It's actually 66 seconds, 0.6.
So a minute and 6 seconds.
0.6
A
seconds.
minute.
Illuminati
and six-
confirmed.
Illuminati confirmed! YOLO.
Steve Jobs was no philanthropist, full-on rapist, philanthropist.
Philanthropist.
Steve Jobs was no philanthropist. Apparently Apple in its early days had many a charitable program, but as a cost-cutting maneuver, Steve pulled the plug and said, once we start making money, we'll set these up again. And it hasn't happened since. So this huge tech boom that Apple was in the center of around the 2000s wasn't enough money
When
in
they were
Steve
the biggest
Jobs'
company,
eyes. Yup.
the biggest company on the face of the planet.
Pretty much a name brand. Everyone had something of theirs on their desk, in their bag, or in your pocket. And Steve was just like, we're not profitable enough to do toys for tots.
That doesn't surprise me at all, because that size business never really gives a shit about anyone.
No.
Like that whole Red campaign and all those people who participate with that. I think Apple was involved with that too. That was $100 million in marketing, and they only gave like $25 million to charity after all the marketing was said and done.
Right. You got to put the marketing in, bruh.
It was just there to sell product.
Right.
It was celebrity endorsements. Fucking Bono. Anyway, I think Apple was involved with that.
Oh, yeah, there's a Bono iPod.
Yeah.
I had one.
Oh, yeah.
I did. I just liked it because of the color.
The color
It
was
red
cool.
and black.
Red and black. I always like that.
Do you remember when they had the latest U2 album just showed up on your iPhone?
Oh, yeah, and people were getting paid to remove it for you.
Yeah. Like, they molested us with Bono.
They molested our pods.
Ugh, that's why I'm on the Android.
Steve Jobs hires a man named Scully from Pepsi with the line, do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life, or do you want to come with me and change the world?
I want to hire a woman named Scully and say, the truth is out there.
Ah,
I want to drink Mountain Dew right now.
Yeah,
Get
that's
me
Pepsi.
ready to do the do. If you know what I mean.
Do it done. Get on a mountain bike.
so Scully brought on with terse terms, and there's some infighting, and it eventually leads to Scully firing Jobs. So
Okay.
imagine the dude you hired fires you.
That's pretty brutal.
Yeah. I would have something in the contract like, thou shan't fire me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, let me chill professionally.
if I ever hired someone, I would put it in there. You're like,
I mean,
you
I
can't
mean,
fire me.
He probably should just start wearing shoes. And then
But
maybe
it was more the board voted him out. Scully
Yeah.
was the mouthpiece.
Yeah, Scully like got the ball rolling, I think, and then fired him.
Right, well, he is Stinky Boy.
He was incredibly stinky. In his unemployment, he starts a computer company called NEXT, Next. And you can see here, Steve has awkwardly capitalized letters in his product for the seemingly first time. And-
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
how do you spell this with next?
I thought that he acquired them.
I think he started it and sell. It was N lowercase e capital XT. So everything was capital except for the vowel.
Why did he not?
I don't know.
Why did
He
he
does
not-
that shit.
Dude, it's a conspiracy. The E is small. The E is small for
E
a
is-
reason.
He does this in his time away from Apple. He needed backing to start this NEXT program. Guess where he gets it from?
He sold share, right?
No.
He gets it from the Waz who he dicked over.
He gets it from Ross Perot.
Oh,
What the fuck?
that's really weird.
I know. Ross Perot was just being his venture capitalist self. I was like, sure, give you money. Have all my money.
Do you remember when he was running for president?
Yeah.
And Bob Dole. It was Bob Dole and Bill Clinton, right?
And I think Ross Perot was in there. I think
Ross
all
Per-
that, a Nickelodeon show, kept making jabs at Ross Perot.
That's why I want to vote for him.
and it
Because
weirded
he
me
was-
out
he
because,
kept-
like, I don't care who Ross Perot is as Bebby.
I think Ross Perot tried to run 5 times.
he did, yeah.
Well, he obviously backed Steve Jobs with his next
Yeah,
project.
dropped a lot of money.
Great.
Ross Perot comes in, saves the day, kind of like Tarzan on a vine. Like, here's venture capital. This was a good move because before he got that sweet, sweet Ross Perot dollar, he was briefly considering building computers for the Soviets.
Really?
Ross Perot pretty much stopped Steve Jobs from going down this mad scientist path of betrayal to
He
the
didn't
red-
really know how to code anyway.
No,
would've
he
just
didn't.
he would have just made what we know for the Russian technology today would have just been slimmer and been covered in glass and would have broke more
and
often.
have
Yeah.
less battery life.
He'd be like, listen, Gorbachev, I can really sell you a great computer that the people are going to love.
You mind if I put my feet up?
You can get out of my office.
So instead of jumping in bed with the Soviets, he hits up George Lucas, your boy George Lucas.
Oh, another fucking weirdo.
And he buys Lucasfilm's computer graphics division off of Luke for $10 million.
Doesn't that turn into something that we all know right now?
Like the critically acclaimed hit movie Up.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep. Yeah. Pixar turns into Pixar.
Fucking Pixar.
Pretty cool. Big fan of Pixar. Always liked them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So executive producer of Pixar is Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
You just found that out?
Yeah.
That was where he made most of his money. The whole, like, him getting $1 a year from Apple, on top of the stock options from them,
he was
most of his money came from Pixar.
Yep.
Like, his $8 billion fortune, I'm pretty sure 75% of that came from Pixar.
Yeah. We could probably do the math afterwards. I'm
Yeah.
not going to do the math afterwards.
Isn't it Randy Newman that wrote Who You Got a Friend in Me?
You got a friend.
I was going to say that he sang that straight into Steve Jobs' eyes. I'm looking at Tom directly and he's going, you got a friend in me.
Yeah.
That's it.
You have a friend inside of me.
You got a friend in me. And it's literally one of Steve Jobs' foot inside of Randy Newman.
The big toe.
Because Steve Jobs referred to his feet as friends. He didn't
This
want
is
to
true.
cap them off.
These are my friends. These are my puppies.
These are my pups. You got a friend in me.
The left foot was named Footsworld, and the right foot was named Karen.
Both friends.
I know we're like already like kind of into where he's not even with Apple at this point, right?
He's not with the current Apple
Right,
after the
He has
reunion.
one stock share. I remember reading this.
Oh,
At
yeah?
this point, he has
That's
one
cool.
stock share.
Oh, okay.
Because he sold off most of it to do the next thing.
Yeah, that's how
Right.
he got that.
That's how
money.
he got enough money to get the ball rolling, and then
And
the
then
Ross
Ross
Perot
Perot.
shit came in, and then he got into the Pixar thing. And the Pixar initially was a computer building company.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
what brought him into it. He wasn't interested in animation or anything like that.
He was interested in the Monet.
Right. Well, he wanted to make shit, and sell it to consumers.
Right.
But Pixar really was. It's like he didn't do his research on that one, but it worked out for him.
Right.
Worked out really well.
Then I just fell into it.
Yeah.
But what I was going to ask is, and pardon me if I was drunk.
No.
Pardon me if I was drunk. Why is it called Apple?
Because Steve Jobs was a fruitarian.
A fruitarian.
Fruitarian. We're going to get there.
Okay, we'll get there. All right, I jumped ahead a little bit. Now I'm really intrigued. So now he's doing Pixar things.
Toy Story. So Toy Story comes out, and we all know how it goes. Very successful strings of very lovable animated movies that followed Toy Story from Pixar.
Tim Allen and Tom Hanks make it back to their child lover.
Yeah, man. Buzz
Yep.
and Woody.
Yep.
Andy's mom's toys had the same name.
Andy's mom had a big old donk.
Did we ever see her?
Yeah. Saw a donk.
Really?
I don't remember.
I was all like Donkey Shane.
Oh, you danked it.
I thought they did like the nanny treatment with Andy's mom, just kind of like hip up.
Look,
Or
there's
hip down, rather.
Look, Cody, I know you're interested. There's Toy Story porn out there.
Rule
Find
34. If it exists,
find
there's porn of it.
Yeah.
No exceptions.
I feel like Jobs probably looked at it.
What's your favorite Pixar boy?
I like Ratatouille.
That's the one I was gonna say.
I don't-
Damn it.
I like Wally.
No, but honestly, my favorite Pixar movie is Shark's Tale.
No. You fucked it.
But Big Willie style does it right in it.
Finding Nemo was better. You know it.
No, Shark's Tale, dude. Do you see he's got like his fins kind of look like his ears?
And by the way, Fred Willard was the only live action actor to ever appear in a Pixar franchise. My favorite movie, Wall-E.
Wallace.
No one else has appeared as they are in real life in Pixar movies. Cool fact, I thought.
I thought Tom Hanks looked like wood.
Look like the Woody.
Yeah, I kind of thought that Shrek looked like Shrek.
Once again, that is a DreamWorks
Dream
picture.
Pixar picture.
DreamWorks.
Yeah, Dream Pixar.
And that character was originally made for Chris Farley, not Mike Myers.
No, but
remember?
that character was made for Shrek and Donkey.
That's made for Shrekin.
That character was made for church.
And we all know currently Steve Jobs does not hold shares in Pixar because he's dead.
He's dead.
He's
dead
dead.
man.
But Steve Jobs selling Pixar to Disney was pretty interesting how they went around for it. Steve Jobs sold Pixar to Disney for $7.4 billion
Tight.
worth of stocks. So it was a non-cash transaction, which I thought was pretty cool.
And that was after Toy Story came out.
Yep. So this is after a very successful string of...
No, it was the first one. It wasn't a string.
Yeah, Toy Story was the first one, but after that, the string...
Oh, yeah.
like solidified the equity of Pixar, which he was able to sell it for $7.4 billion worth of stocks when he bought the Lucasfilm's graphics division for $10 million.
That's
So
heck of
$10 million
clams.
to $7.4 billion.
So he
With a
came
B.
out with Toy Story. He was like, I'm out. I'm selling it.
Yeah.
Wow.
We
So-
kept his stock, though.
$7.4 billion worth of stocks. That made Steve Jobs the main shareholder of Disney at the time. What percentage of shares you needed to be the lead stakeholder of Disney back in the day?
4%.
7.
Oh, it was close.
All you needed was 7%, aka what Steve Jobs had
Wow.
for
And you were the biggest dick in Epcot.
7% made you the chief shareholder.
You can get your dick sucked around the world.
Walt Disney's surviving relative, Roy Disney, had 4 times less than Steve at this point in time.
Weird.
So blood relative of Disney didn't have anything near.
He didn't work for it, and he wore too many shoes.
Yeah. And his parents sucked up. His name is Roy.
Ew.
Fucked up. His name's Roy.
Only Broly that's good in my book is Roy Rogers.
So he sells Pixar, and then he sells his other IP, NEXT, Next, to Apple.
Okay.
So it's a very strange changing of hands. Like, I hire you, you fire me, I make this, I sell to you, you hire me back.
Yeah. He likes to make things very convoluted.
He does. And that leads to some failures in the technological realm.
Oh, yeah. I looked those up.
And I've Travis with the assist.
That's me. So, we got this visionary guy who doesn't wear shoes. And, there's going to be some duds. And one of these duds.
When you're saying duds, you're talking about his project.
Yes, his inventions
Within Apple.
are going to be duds. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry. Make myself clear there.
It's all right. We're all drinking here.
We're all drunks. So the first one I'm going to bring up is the 20th anniversary Mac that came out in 1997.
And what was wrong with it?
Well, first of all, it looked ugly. The CD drive was like vertical.
Oh,
So like you'd pop out the CD drive with, and then you like stick the CD in vertical.
Great.
But this thing cost 10 grand.
What?
10 grand.
10 grand
USD?
USD in 1997 USD.
Shit.
And when you ordered it, it would be delivered in a limo and have white gloves set up. Someone would fucking
God.
roll up in a limo and be like, "Oh, here's your Mac 20th edition."
Would you like your complimentary hand jobber, sir?
But the funny thing about that is a month earlier, they released the Power Mac 3500, which was a fifth of the price, and it was the same same power, same specs.
And why was that shit?
Yeah, so everyone fucking bought the Power Mac because they're like, yeah,
Yeah, of course. You just want the hardware.
right. And
No gloves.
Yeah.
so this piece of shit came out. The Power Mac was basically the same thing, but cheaper. So 2 months after the 20th anniversary Mac came out, they dropped the price to a little over $1,000.
Just a bit north.
Because they needed to move it. They're like, no one's buying this piece of shit. No one wants a fucking.
Imagine if
computer.
you were one of those fucking idiots who got the $5,000 white glove treatment. How shitty
10
you'd
grand.
feel.
10
Oh,
grand.
10 grand. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
10 grand.
It's 10 grand treatment.
Yeah.
You are a sucker.
Yeah. So and then the next one they called it Jobs' Baby. This came out in 2000.
I'm going to talk about another product called Jobs' Baby, but well,
Yeah, I was just gonna say
Yeah.
there's some other things.
Well, he's
happening.
probably more proud of this baby.
that's true and makes Jobs even shittier from my.
Well, he was willing to look this one in the eye for a while.
and say like, yes, I made you.
Jobs' Baby was the Power Mac G4 Cube, which
I think I had the laptop unretarded version of that.
yeah, this was the retard. He cared a lot about this one. He was like, he was basically talking about how this was going to redefine computing. Basically, it was a cube suspended in plastic. It had no PCI ports, no audio ins or outs. It was one USB that led to an amp that set up with speakers. No ports. No ports.
Ew.
Yeah.
It's kind of like reminiscent of what's going on now.
Was there a VGA? Out,
Nope.
At least.
Nope. Just one USB.
No super drive.
Yeah.
Port.
Yeah, also it didn't come with a monitor too, which a lot of people were like, why the fuck do I want this just cube? Because like they kind of expected to have a monitor back then. Now you'd get a computer and you have to buy the monitor, but whatever. So no one bought this piece of shit because, again, a month later, the Power Mac G4 came out. It was $200 less, same spec.
Right.
With ports. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So,
Lame.
if you're an entrepreneur, this is either the most retarded move ever or a genius move.
He was so ahead of his time. Because we do hate ports as a society now.
I have 3 of these things, and you can kind of see a progression where it switches from function over form to form over function. Because he's so involved in these, like, stupid...
It must look good.
Make it a cube, make it a, you know...
Trust me, it's got to be a cube. I went to India once.
Right. Cubes are very spicy.
Well, to be fair, I use a cylinder now.
Yeah, well, not much changed.
And the last one that I'm going to bring up came out in 2002. It was the Mac G4, or the iMac G4 Sunflower.
Oh, fun.
Right.
Fun.
Which, if you don't know what that thing is, it was like a weird domey base where all the guts of the computer was.
Atrocious.
Then there was like this like stem, and the monitor was attached to that.
And you can move it.
You could
move the
swivel it.
monitor.
You could swivel that bitch like it didn't care.
Right. So this thing was actually pretty groundbreaking. A lot of people love this computer because it was their first flat screen computer. Yeah, you could burn DVDs, first DVD burner. A lot of firsts with this one. But to me, I think it's the stupidest because instead of just making a regular ass computer, he had to make this stupid design.
Overthought.
Yeah, and you suffer on
Functionality.
Right? Yeah. You gotta. There's a Doge.
Dog.
She doesn't like the sunflower.
No, she fucking hates
And those are his dumb inventions that I found. Also the Pippin, but that he didn't do that.
What was a Pippin?
Also, I found the Pippin, which Steve Jobs did not really work on, but it was an Apple product. Pippin is also spelled stupidly. It's P-I-P-P upside down exclamation point N.
No! I hate it.
Yeah, and that thing was Apple's attempt at a gaming console.
What year was that?
Early.
It came out around the same time as Sega Saturn and the first PlayStation.
That's 94.
94, so yeah, right, because then when Steve Jobs...
so that's before he was even back with the company.
Right, when Steve Jobs came back in 97, he threw the project out. Because Steve Jobs hated gaming on computers. Jobs thought that computers were meant for learning book smarts.
Right.
Not fun and
You can make games on a Mac.
Yeah, not
but you
goof
can't
and-
play them on the Mac.
Yeah,
If
you
I wanna
can't
play
goof and
Mac
gaff.
Blaster.
Yeah.
The old
Freddy
Mac.
Fish.
So that thing was stupid. It was $600 at the time, and no one bought it. It's made by Bandai.
Oh, those actually came out?
Yeah, Bandai supported it, the system, until... Because, like, Apple wiped their hands with it, but Bandai supported it, I think, until 2002.
They wiped their
Oh,
ass
shit.
with it.
Yeah. It's like a joint Apple-Bandai.
Mad Sick Bandai joint.
Yeah,
Mad
boom.
Sick.
Hell yeah. Slurp it.
Very interesting. Hey, Travis.
Yeah.
What was number 2 on that list?
Number 2 was his child that failed.
And what was the full name of that product? Can you tell me? real
It
quick?
was the Power Mac G4 Cube.
AKA Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs' baby.
Steve Jobs' baby. Interesting that I swerved the conversation to mention that because I have a segue.
Segway.
Yeah, I was wondering where this was going.
I was trying to go for a segue.
This
It
is
was
what
weird.
we call in this particular podcast the old reach around.
Yeah.
Cody's
reaching
doing a
around.
reach around right now.
He's trying
a
to-
gentleman.
I'm straining.
Yeah.
He's a gentleman.
Steve Jobs had an illegitimate child. Did you know?
Illegitimate.
Illegitimate child.
Illegitimate.
Lisa Brennan when he was 23.
Oh.
And he denied it.
Yeah.
And Lisa's mother had to resort to using welfare checks to put Lisa through her childhood, which is slightly fucked up.
Now
Slightly
he did
fucked up.
settle. He did. I think it was 3 years into Lisa being born that he ended up paying $500 a month.
Yeah, he came around, but he was a shitbag for initially
He
shitting.
denied the.
Yeah.
Yeah, but $500 for a month for someone that like sold the company for like $7 billion.
Well, at the time when Lisa was born, he was just getting Apple off the ground. It wasn't worth anything at the time.
Right, but I mean, like, he never like came back later in life. And
No,
was
he
like,
did. He paid for her to go to Harvard
but
later.
we're,
okay.
we're panting that he was a douchebag.
Well, yeah, no, he's still a douchebag. I'm not. Yeah, if you just deny someone's,
So it's very interesting that he made a computer called Steve Jobs' Baby, or a nicknamed computer called Steve Jobs' Baby, because after he had this illegitimate child, he made a new computer called the Apple Local Integrated Software Architecture.
Oh yeah, the Lisa.
AKA the Apple Lisa.
That's weird.
He was
Sounds like
kind
something
of
that's going to rape you when you're not looking.
yeah. So this is more of Steve Jobs' baby than that failure you bookended us with.
That one I saw that on the list, and that was also a failure.
Oh, okay. So he
Yeah,
struck
that
out.
that one was a terrible computer.
So
apparently,
both of
also
his-
cost 10 grand
Nice.
in like 80s money. So it was like 22 grand.
shit.
Unbelievable.
And
So-
also the dollar went further back then.
Very
Yeah.
further, very much further. So this paternity denial is slightly shitty if you consider he himself was adopted. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
the only reason he got, all Steve Jobby and successful is because somebody was willing to be like, listen, I'm going to be your father from now on, flourish. But he was unwilling to do that on the flip side. You know what I mean?
Well, of course. And also, I think a lot of the reason he denied that was his child is because he was into what they would call tantric sex.
Ooh.
Ooh.
What does that mean, Tom?
Well, when he went over to India, we're going to rewind to when this was happening.
Do it!
He goes to India, he comes back, he meets Chris Ann Brennan. That's the lady of his life at the time. He was mean to her. He would want to rub her down with lavender soaps and spray her off with a hose.
Oh,
and then
man.
have what they would call tantric sex, which was like a meditative sex. Slow.
It's
very
sex
slow.
without the jisms.
He didn't want to come.
It's a lot of rubbing.
Yeah,
Not
he
a lot
was-
of
He wasn't
banging.
into coming.
Friction.
Right. So I
Motion of
think,
the ocean.
with that being said, I can kind of get where he was coming from. You hear it.
That's not my daughter. I don't come.
Yeah, I don't come.
I don't come. Do you come? That's weird.
No.
I don't.
You're always in denial. You're gonna deny it initially if you know you didn't come.
Your Honor,
Right.
I had tantric sex with her.
Yeah, but he's a man of science. He should also get that not
Science.
science, but technology.
Yeah.
Form. He's a man of form.
Yeah, actually, we'll learn later how little of a man of science this guy actually was.
Haha.
But that's I could see why he denied so much because he's just like, nah, I never came.
Don't come.
Didn't happen.
Don't come. Didn't
They
come.
call me Steve No Come Jobs.
Yeah, no, why
No,
no come
why no
jobs?
come to jobs?
No jobs, no come.
Steve-
No jobs, no come. You
Steve-
can't come here. Jobs.
Not welcome jobs. Now we get into when Steve is the head honcho of Apple. So be mindful. He recently just sold Apple. He just recently sold Apple NEXT next. And they looked at him as a savior.
This is in 95, right?
I think so.
95, 96?
97.
A boot that
Right. A boot then?
a boot
Yeah,
then.
around 96, 97.
Right.
So he becomes more or less infamous for his corporate hostility. And part of that is his recruitment shticks to other people.
Mhm.
Didn't have any bedside manner. We heard earlier that he asked a Pepsi exec, do you want to sell sugar water for the rest of your life? Or do you want to come with me and change the world? Pretty presumptuous. He's also quoted with telling a Xerox executive, everything you ever done in your life is shit. So why don't you come work for me?
Didn't he also steal the mouse idea from Xerox?
I think he stole. a
Yeah,
lot
I think
of
I
things
remember
from
hearing
Xerox.
about that.
Yeah, I think he did. I
This
think
is why he's a visionary. He envisioned what Xerox was currently doing
he envisioned
for
it by
Apple.
seeing it
Yeah,
with his eyes.
with his eyeballs.
I'm just realizing this, Cody. You did Edison not too long ago.
I did.
Jobs is a lot like Edison.
A little bit.
He kind of just steals people's.
It's a good
work,
chase there.
You know?
The pattern of Steve Jobs is to come up with an idea and then don't budge on that, even
Right.
when your programmers are like, hey, this is pretty fucking hard to
When
do.
you
Which
yourself
it makes
can't
sense.
program.
Yeah,
why-
exactly. You can't lead by example, but you know what you want to see. It's kind of it's a way to do business. I'll give him that.
Right.
little
No.
cutthroat. When Steve Jobs was asked if he would sell PCs, aka not Macs, he said, "I'd rather sell dog shit than PCs."
Well, fuck Bill Gates.
And
He's actually a nice guy.
Yeah, he likes malaria people.
Yeah, he likes the malaria boys.
and
Started
he,
the new.
he also
boy band.
said it's like giving a glass of water to somebody in hell, and that was regarding iTunes conversion to PC. Steve Jobs told one of his developers after seeing the product, "You've baked a really lovely cake, but then you used dog shit for frosting."
He likes shit.
Yeah, he's
on
got
Yeah.
a thing with dog shit.
It's like-
I think it's maybe because he stepped barefoot in some dog shit one time. He's like, that's the worst feeling in the world.
You need shoes.
Kind of like a Jim Leahy.
That's a sweet gooey, not
You
shit.
got too many shit ports on the back of your desktop.
Here's what he said to his own people on his own board. Quoted, "Stop the train. This isn't going to work. This company is in shambles, and I don't have time to wet nurse the board. So I need all of you to resign, or else I'm going to resign and not come back on Monday."
Really?
That's
Fuck.
a prima donna move. What
Yeah,
the
it is.
fuck?
Yeah, that's
so
that's
bitchy.
this piece of shit right there.
Yeah, it's like you guys all need to fire yourself, or I'm not coming back.
What did they do?
They fired themselves.
What a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
Get the job. Fuck that guy.
I was like, hey, Steve Jobs, that's a bunch of dog shit, because I know you like that word. and then like trap some in his salad.
Oh, well, food.
Do you guys remember what Mac.com turned into? Or if you had a at Mac.
Oh, it's a Mac.me now.
Yeah, it was called the Mobile Me before it was Mac.me.
Yeah.
And that was a shit show. And Steve Jobs asked his developers, "What the fuck is Mobile Me supposed to do?" And after his developers like said their bit, he responded, "Well, why the fuck doesn't it do that?"
What is Mobile Me again? I don't remember.
Mobile Me is like the all-inclusive Apple password. You need this for your
like a
mail.
Gmail?
Yeah, it's like the
Gotcha.
Gmail sign-in for Apple.
I don't ever remember making one of those, but for some reason I have one because I have an iPhone currently.
Do you guys all remember, this is a little sidebar, do you guys remember what your first email address was?
Yes.
What about you?
Trespasser109@aim.com.
Trespasser. You
Trespasser.
fucking nerd.
Yeah! I'm a hacker, trespasser.
Yeah!
My parents bought me a Macintosh computer.
It was a G4 PowerBook.
What about you, Tom?
I think it was just T-Salt 88.
Cool.
Classic.
That's classic.
At
First initial AOL. Yeah.
Well, I think I have a nerdy one that Cody's. Mine was SS Trunks 22
Hey!
at AOL.com. Trunks being from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh,
Yes! Dragon Ball Z, Trunks is your best character. He has a sword.
Yes! Yes!
so I wasn't a nerd. I just I didn't identify with anything else but my name.
Loser. Have a Dragon Ball name like Travis next time.
Yeah, you can call me Piccolo the Pickle Boy.
Pickle.
That's what you call me now. Let's see if that's taken.
You want to take a quick recess and see that?
hold on.
Yeah, Piccolo the Pickle
Hold on.
Boy.
Let's see if I can-
One of the shitty things Steve Jobs did, I don't know if you can blame him for it, but he was a showman, and as part of being a showman is you kind of have to lie to big-ass audiences, or not necessarily lie, but deceive them, you know what I mean? And I don't know about you, but I can kind of remember the first iPhone keynote. Can you?
No.
No? Okay, fine. It was kind of cool. Steve Jobs was showing like, oh, look, you can look at a video, you can email, you can browse the web, you can use the calculator, you can look at pictures on your phone.
Yeah.
But during this seminal keynote, the iPhone actually didn't work that well. So he had to use some black magic to sell the iPhone V1. He, instead of having his programmers discover how to successfully do this, he asked his programmers to find out which combination of these things didn't crash the phone.
Okay.
So it's like, I don't know what's wrong with this. Find something that won't blow it up and and we'll use that to sell it.
Right. So when he showed thousands of people,
It was a very specific order of things to do that wouldn't cause the phone to blow up.
scripted activity.
Yup.
Right.
So it could have very well been just like a small video playing and him hitting it.
On the phone, perhaps, but it seems like
I'm not saying it was, but it's the next thing.
Yeah, it's
aside
not.
from that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of functionality here.
Right.
So much so that they needed to bring in a portable cell tower into the studio
Beautiful.
to get signal to actually get into the phone.
Right. I mean, I'd imagine that the cell towers probably weren't as common back then. I don't really remember it. But
When did it come out? 10 years ago, right?
longer than that, I think.
2007, I think so.
I did not have an iPhone at first. I had a Palm Pre.
Palm Pre.
Yeah,
That had a
so-
mirror on it, didn't it?
He had the Palm Pre-cum.
Yeah, it came to Pre at palmpre.com.
That's how Steve Jobs had his first daughter, Lisa, as we brought up before.
Yeah. Also, Steve Jobs had 3 or 4 iPhone prototypes in his pocket because one would freeze up and he would send it into reboot and then he would pull the second one out as if it was still the first one. So
well, sleight of hand.
sleight of hand job. Sleight of hand job.
Sleight of hand jobs.
Yeah,
Sleight of hand jobs. Yeah. Sneaky hand jobbers.
No job, no come.
Job no come. These are not the jobs you're looking for. No
Sleight
job,
of hand
no
job.
come.
No come, head job. Tantric hand job.
My hand is moving so slow. You can feel the aura in it.
Penis getting sleepy.
Penis board. Steve Jobs made a very interesting beast of an infrastructure system known as iTunes. And that kind of shits on musicians just a little bit.
That's where the black people dance around and you can only see their headphones.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, all
commercials.
those the advertisements.
Black people. Those black.
No,
silhouettes.
what do you even think I meant by black
I don't
people?
know.
Well, iTunes.
Yeah.
That's a piece of shit.
Yeah, because it pretty much puts a label on artistic work. It's just like no matter what you do, you're 99 cents.
You had the Napster situation happening
yeah.
before the first iPod came out. And people were worried about the iPod because even though Napster was shut down, you had things like LimeWire and Kazaa.
Torrent thing.
Where you could and people were downloading music
For free.
Steve Jobs wanted to create a market, so he did that with iTunes and managed to convince it was like 5 or 6 really big labels like EMI, Sony, Interactive to sell all their songs for $1 a piece. It was kind of controversial at the time because before then it was you sell the album or you give it out on a demo. That was how
And this smashed that model.
Yeah, how you heard music back then was you bought the CD or you heard it on the radio. Those were your options. But the internet came around and started behaving badly, if you will. And you have guys like Lars Ulrich panicking about things like Napster and LimeWire. And the way that a lot of level-headed musicians and people get paid through these services now, that wasn't really a problem. Because the people who were downloading those things were never going to buy it to begin with.
No.
The real big problem with music and how we see it now is Pandora, which is a giant company making shit tons of money off radio play, with the money being split based on copyright laws that came out of the 50s that didn't even see the internet coming. Publishers make an exorbitant amount of money. Pandora trained the consumers to understand that music is free. And that fucked everything.
Everything.
Would you say Pandora or Spotify is worse?
Pandora is way worse.
Yeah.
Spotify's bad.
Right.
They really don't pay out. Apple Music, they pay the artists the best out of the bunch. It's such low standards. Excuse me.
Like
It's
5
so
to 9
low that
cents.
Tom wants to puke.
Yeah.
He's gonna puke all over the place, and I'm gonna take my shirt off and
Do stuff to him.
I'm throwing up right now because this is how I get paid. It sucks. And we're in a basement right now. So,
I need to pee.
okay. In short, Steve Jobs created the Apple iTunes store. It kind of fucked up everything in some respects, but I'm going to say the whole industry was fucked from the internet to begin with. iTunes sucks for a lot of other reasons, especially if you're a Windows user and you have an iPod.
guess what? Psst. Google's got the same thing.
Travis, Google, sponsor boy.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not sponsored by Google.
Google knows everything about Travis. Like, they know a lot about everyone,
Yeah.
but they know everything about Travis.
Google has heard me fuck before.
Yeah, they know how many hairs he has on his dick. His unshaven penis.
I always keep
Well,
3.
we all do now because it's 0. Oh, you unshaven, excuse me. I thought you said shaven. Like, oh, that's 0.
No, I keep
No,
3
it's-
large ones.
Yeah, on the tip.
Like Homer Simpson. Like Homer Simpson.
Yep.
Stick close like Homer Simpson.
All right, so we're talking about the iTunes.
iTunes.
What else is going
Fucks
on?
musicians over. Just realized App Store fucks programmers over. I'm
Okay.
programmer. Tom is musician. Let us toast in fuck Steve Jobisms.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Hey, Steve Jobs also fucked my profession with the fucking Final Cut.
Oh, yeah, Final Cut.
You want to talk about
Talk
that?
about 7 to 10.
Talk about that for 40 seconds. Go.
Okay, Final Cut 7 was one of the best editing softwares around,
Amen.
and it was gaining traction where, like, the old standard of Avid was getting, like, dethroned by Final Cut 7. Everyone was switching over to Final Cut 7, and then Apple was like, hey, Final Cut 10, it's basically iMovies, which is, like, a baby program for
They skipped
babies.
Final Cut 9.
Yeah, they
Fourth.
skipped 9.
8 and 9.
And then,
they didn't. It was 8 and 9.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm doing this rush. I'm trying to get in 45 seconds. I feel like I lost already.
Take another 5 seconds.
Take another 5 seconds. Basically, basically the program sucked, and then Premiere swept it in, and
Adobe.
Premiere sucks too. And I work with that every day.
Me too. Not every day.
It all sucks.
It all sucks.
I feel like there's no good options for professional editors today.
Frustrating because it seems like Apple is making stuff just one tier underneath professional grade.
Well, right. I mean, they
Yeah.
still call it. It's still Final Cut 10 Pro,
Yeah.
and it's not for professionals. I mean, you can make it professional. You just have to spend all this fucking shit on
Yeah.
plugins, and it's really unorthodox.
Travis,
and
do you use iMovie?
I did when I was.
But you
2.
don't now. Absolutely.
No. Yeah.
Tom, Do you use GarageBand?
Oh, yeah. Iconic
enough.
loops. They got that shit down. I'll say that.
Enough.
All right.
Anyway, Apple makes sub-professional software nowadays, and the professionals are
for professional
furious.
users.
Yes, I'm angry. Fuck that shit.
Don't use Adobe stuff. Use Mac stuff.
Don't use Mac.
What do you
stuff.
mean?
The only thing that I appreciate about Mac.
You just said
No, I
that
also
Final
said-
Cut 10 is for children.
It is. It is.
And
But I also
Adobe Premiere might suck, but
But
at
I
least you
also
have
said
to use
I also said Adobe sucks, and you don't need to feed the Adobe fucking heroin needle subscription.
I feel like you need AE.
No, you use Motion.
All right. Well,
We're just
I'm not supporting my case.
we're
here,
just
but-
old
No, you're not.
curmudgeons
You're not.
talking about VFX right now. Oh, just use Motion over After.
yeah. Welcome to the VFX podcast. We're gonna walk you through what things look like.
You like motion mats, fuckers? We're gonna go through that.
You want to see something get real hard? I can show you.
Travis, ever pertinent.
It's called material meshes. We're gonna get on that.
Speaking of hard times,
Especially
if you're a Foxconn employee,
oh yeah,
plenty of
Fuck
hard
yeah.
times. Oodles, one would say, of hard times. If you don't know, viewers at home, Foxconn is the shitty Chinese operation that Apple uses, I think initiated under Steve Jobs, to assemble all the Apple fun goodness, aka iPhones, computers, iPods, la la la.
So
la, la.
Foxconn is a manufacturer in China.
Yes.
Okay.
What do you think a Foxconn employee makes
Oh,
in a month
that's a good question.
working 11 to 13-hour shifts a day?
I'm gonna go with $36.
$36. That's nice.
my guess, yeah.
A whole week?
Month.
Oh,
Month.
This is a month of
month,
working on average 12-hour shifts.
to make a one. I put in an O.
You gonna change your answer, Tom?
No, $36. I'm sticking to it.
That's pretty rough.
I was gonna say 20, 28.
That's pretty rough,
28, pretty rough.
Travis, you're looking at my notes. How did you get this
I didn't look at your notes.
$130
$130
is what a Foxconn assembler gets in the middle of the month. They get paid on the 10th, which is very strange to me.
Well, they get paid on the 10th because that's when the virgin boy egg ceremony starts.
right,
So
and
they can
those,
spend
and those
their
cost $110 a pop.
Yeah.
They cost an egg and a bucket of piss. What are you talking
$130. My piss is important.
And in Foxconn, employees got a meager $130 a month for working on average 12 hours a day. They got paid in yen, but it was 130 USD equivalent
So it's probably like 85,000 million yens.
Yeah.
if production targets were not met. Lunch was canceled.
Lunch was canceled.
They just canceled lunch if you didn't meet your quota.
Did they provide lunch?
No, they didn't even give you the time. They're like, you fucked up. We're not
that
giving
rice
you
you
lunch
brought
break.
in? Throw it out.
All of it. Every grain.
I love
Throw it out.
China is just so selectively communist.
Perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? We're gonna take away your lunch that we should be giving to you anyway, because this is communist China.
Employees were pretty much forced to sign a waiver saying they didn't need to collect overtime. They still got the base pay, but they didn't get the point, like the 1.5 time.
And they signed it away.
yeah, they pretty much signed away any overtime bonuses.
So they can't call anyone and be like, hey, they're not paying my overtime.
Yeah.
Because they wrote it off.
Yep.
Ugh.
They shoved their employees into dormitories, sometimes up to 24 people in a domicile. 24 fuckers.
Well, how
living.
big was it? How many
It was
beds?
still dense. 24.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. No.
But they were bunks.
Yeah, that's fine.
dude, how wild did it get?
yeah,
Wow. These dormitory dwellers would often experience raids as if they were inmates at a prison. Like,
Wow.
Right.
they would come in, flip your mattress over, make sure you didn't have any contraband, and
dude. What kind of contraband could you have?
a phone.
Stealing
For
a
a
phone.
A phone to call out?
Yeah, to leak shit with. You know what I mean? Like, this is
shit,
what
this is no
this is
good.
what iPhone 4 molds look like.
I feel like they always leak the phone every year.
Yep.
I feel they do it on purpose.
They don't leak the phone. They just don't change the phone. It's the same thing.
It is. No, I know, but
I
there's
can
always
leak the phone.
right, but there's always that picture like, here's the new phone. It's leaked from the Chinese factory.
Foxconn.
Yeah.
One of the popular reprimands, aka punishments, were public apologies, which is very degrading, I feel.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
nowadays, in a professional standpoint, if you fuck up, it is strictly your problem and your manager's problem.
Mhm.
In Foxconn, if you fucked up, you literally had to write like a 1 to 2 page essay and then say it to your floor like, I fucked up in XYZ
See?
fashion. I promise to never do such again.
See, there's the selective communism coming back in.
It's embarrassing, but also those people on the line that you're saying the apology to on the floor are so busy packing together those iPod Nanos. No one really is listening to you.
Yeah, it's like Blood Diamonds, but with circuitry.
Yeah. Like Leonardo DiCaprio, but with computers.
What do you think? What do you think Steve Jobs said in regard to all this Foxconn conditions?
Well, what's their diet like?
Whose diet? The Foxconn employees.
Yeah, the Foxconn employees.
Probably rice.
Yeah,
He said.
No, I'm saying that was their question. You know, his statement.
I think that he said I was going to open up a factory in India, but it's such a peaceful place.
Steve Jobs simply said, "We're all over that."
Right.
What do you think he meant by that? Because there's like so many ways that sentence can go. Like, what do you think about these evils? We're all over that. It could be like,
We're done with it.
caring
We're
with it.
done caring with it,
Yeah.
or we're on it.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
It's like, what do you think about all these people jumping out and like, you know, having a suicide rate above a dozen? We're
See-
all over it.
See, personally, I think when he said we're all over it, it's because it's part of the Illuminati and they're all over everything.
yeah, they are.
This is the best and worst idea we've ever had for the podcast.
Yeah, well, yeah, we got these.
Oh.
I got the soundboard. I don't know.
Is that Steve Jobs' pancreas?
Yeah,
Is that what it's doing?
Steve Jobs' pancreas.
that's his pancreas.
That's Steve Jobs' pancreas. We're going to segue into Steve Jobs' pancreas cancer. Oh, no. We're going to wait for people to stop laughing.
no.
This is morbid. This is morbid shit.
So he's got a pancreas.
He's got a fucked up pancreas.
Ding dong, pancreas done.
Adopted a pancreas. No, he
He
didn't.
adopted a pancreas.
He adopted a shitty liver after his liver shit out.
Did he get a liver transplant?
He did, yeah.
No shit. He
Nothing
didn't
to-
drink though.
Nothing to do with his pancreas because the pancreas isn't a liver.
But he did. Did he or did he not drink?
I don't know.
It's weird to get a liver replacement.
I know he's a fruitarian. He had like a fruitarian role.
How many,
Cody, keep
how many
saying
is that
his
wine?
word.
Wine?
Old grapes?
Yeah. Woo. Ooh. is wine conducive to a fruitarian
All I'm trying to
diet?
ask for is
In
a
the long
liver
run.
transplant on the cheap. Do you know where that is? Because I need one.
You
Mexico.
go to Thailand.
All right.
Travis, all due respect, you probably have the most efficient liver out of this room.
It's a veteran.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it knows what it's doing.
All right, so he replaced his liver.
Before we get there, pancreatic cancer diagnosis 2003. Steve Jobs in a combat to fight this malignant tumor.
Yeah, a malignant
Tumor.
tumor. Yeah.
Tumor adopts a vegetarian diet. I'm sorry, a vegan diet.
Boo!
Acupuncture, herbal
Wait.
remedies, and psychic consultations.
So he went vegan after fruitarian?
Fruitarian. I think so.
Yeah. So I know that he did this for a while where he only ate carrots and apples.
Not
lame. Very lame.
I'm sorry, we mentioned this before and you were going to explain it. What is fruitarian?
I don't know.
I don't
It's
know
a
what
weird
fruitarian
It's a
is.
weird concept.
Okay, so take the concept of vegan. You know what that one is, right?
Right, where you're an idiot.
Right. Now you get rid of grains.
So you're even more of a moron.
Yeah, no grains.
Wow.
Get rid of nuts.
So from him going to this fruitcake-atarian,
Now, fruitarian, it sounds like you would only eat fruit, but you can eat vegetables. So he ate carrots and apples. That was
Not
'cause
grains.
He was a picky eater.
so be called fruit and vegetarian.
It should be called fucking idiotarian.
Fucking it. So from him going from fruitarian to vegan is actually a step up.
Yes,
'Cause he's eating more things.
now.
Oh my god.
Now he tried rice.
Okay.
He's just like the Foxconn employees.
In case
He
you
ate
haven't
like a Foxconn employee.
noticed,
He's
nobody
worth
in this
$8
room is a
billion.
vegan.
Yeah. Listen,
Well, you're all my friends.
well, I have a few friends who are vegans.
Yeah, no.
They're not good people. They're still my friends.
Yeah, well, you know, everyone's got their problems.
Including Jobs, as his supervising doctor said. Jobs' faith in alternative medicine likely cost him his life. He had only the kind of pancreatic cancer that is treatable and curable. He essentially committed suicide.
Yeah, he did.
Did he do
2003. Now that is 8 years because he died in 11, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
8 years with pancreatic cancer. You have really good chances of living. if
Yeah.
you've made it that long.
He waited 9 months to do anything medically profound.
Reputable?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He did
So he did 9 months of cupping.
9 months of
And then he was like,
herbal
well,
remedies.
I don't know
acupuncture,
if putting this cup on my body is actually doing anything. Maybe I should talk to the professionals.
It's
Maybe I
sucking out toxins.
Yeah,
and you
not-
know what that means? Nothing. Because
Not-
that's what the liver's for.
Yeah. Let's stop going to Yanni, the herbal candle ear waxing guy, and let's go to Hammerschmidt man, Steve Hammerschmidt,
Slut.
Doctor Boy.
I did find a hilarious article that was on some vegan website about how Steve Jobs prolonged his life by living that vegan lifestyle.
Oh, fuck off.
Total bullshit. It was really funny. And at the end, I forget the doctor's name, but at the end of the article, it said something like, Dr. X believes no one will ever be able to disprove his theory on this.
I can disprove it right now.
What about
and then we'll
science?
move on.
Yeah.
Humans are omnivores. Moving on.
Thank you. You hear about that time where Steve Jobs almost accidentally killed Ashton Kutcher from Beyond the Grave?
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah.
Fucking, what was it? 2013 movie coming out simply entitled Jobs,
Yeah.
starring Ashton Kutcher. And Ashton Kutcher, in an attempt to method act, adopted Stevie's diet regimen.
He did the fruitarian.
He did the fruitarian weird thing, and it seemed like there was a hiccup in that because Ashton Kutcher was hospitalized with pancreatic complications
Yep.
after adopting Steve Jobs' diet. I don't know what you want to extrapolate from that.
Stoopy dum-dums. Big ol' stoops.
I'm a Steve Jobs and a stoopy dum dum.
I ended up in the hospital 2 days before we started shooting the movie. I was doubled over in pain, and my pancreas levels were completely out of whack, which is terrifying considering everything. Kutcher.
I think that's hilarious. Did he wear shoes?
Probably.
They don't do. He wasn't really method acting.
No.
Yeah.
He was just eating
stinky
carrots.
enough. I don't
Did
think
he eat
Ashton...
blue cheese with it?
No. You can't eat blue cheese.
Well, you can't eat carrots without blue cheese.
Oh, it's true.
So that's
very
the
true. Very true. Very
fruitarians.
true.
Well, they're foolish people.
I mean, I think he was making... Yeah, he should have been eating blue cheese because he's a stinky boy.
Steve Jobs, suffering from pancreatic cancer, gets killed by it. Unfortunate.
Well, that's why we're talking about him. Thank God.
Wait, he just died?
Just up and died of respiratory complications due to pancreatic cancer. Very, 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 very creepy trivia. His last words were 6 monosyllabic syllables in couplets repeated 3 times. As he lay dying, he gazed over his loved ones' heads into empty space and said, "Oh wow," 3 times.
That was the first time he came.
But it weirded me out that he's on his deathbed with his
Wait,
dying
he said
breaths.
it 3 times.
He stared.
Wait, whoa. He said, oh wow.
Oh wow.
So that's 2 words, and then 3 times 2 is 666.
Oh my God.
Whoa!
Devil demon
You saw
boy.
the Satan!
But as he lay
Hey,
dying,
Satan, I'm Jobs. I'm coming for you, brother.
You heard it here first in the Roast Morning podcast. Now we have Steve Jobs is officially a 666 demon Illuminati burger.
burger.
All right.
So he mutters, "Oh wow," 3 times as he's staring into seemingly empty space above his loved ones' heads and sight lines.
Yeah, what
as
a
he
creep.
dies.
Big old tits. He's looking at.
Somebody asked me about time of death.
Oh yeah. Well, what time did he die?
Fucker died at age 56,
Okay.
October 5, 2011. Currently resides at unmarked grave
Okay.
at Alta Mesa Memorial Park.
And that's somewhere in Southern California,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, it's a non.
Was it a natural
is
death?
It's a non-religious. Well,
I mean,
again,
not natural death. I'm sorry. Natural grave, where they only put you like 3 feet under
I don't
and
know.
no coffin.
I don't know.
Let the raccoons
That's how
dig
I
you
want
up.
to go. Yeah. You just get it up.
Very, very, very strange. I feel like such a prominent figure is sitting chill under an unmarked tombstone.
And I don't want any of you faggots to stand on my body.
Right. Wasn't he also a pescatarian at some point?
Yeah,
In that mix?
like in his fevered attempt to not die,
Right.
he adopted a pescatarian diet,
Which is only eating fish. It's like, it's partial credit.
yeah.
You should go to Papa
I think
John's.
it's
Yeah.
I think it's the only meat you eat is fish. You can still eat veggies.
Right. So
and
it's like
shit.
getting partial credit. You're just passing. That's like a D.
So I can remember kind of how I felt when I learned Stevie Jobs died. How did you guys feel?
Nothing.
Yeah, I didn't really care that much.
Oh, my world was shaken. I felt like there would be no more iPhones or iPods or iMacs afterwards. But then again, I was also a shareholder of the company. So when he died, I was like, no, my overhead.
Yeah, man, I get that. If I owned stock in that company, I would be pissed.
Oh yeah, I was angry. I think I belched a few times too.
Yeah. Well, then they got Tim Cook.
They got the Timmy Cook now.
Honestly, I just feel like Apple. I don't know if you've got more stuff you wanted to wrap up.
I'm wrapped. Fuck
Okay,
it.
I mean, I think that Apple nowadays is just riding off Steve Jobs. If you want to buy the same product over and over and over again for eternity, talk to Tim.
Yeah, talk to Timmy.
I think Woz came out and said the iPhone 8 is the exact same thing as
I
the
think
iPhone
he still
7.
I think
and
he
the
has
iPhone
a 6 still.
Yeah, he said like the last 6, 7, and 8 are the same.
Did we not talk about how stinky he was?
No, we talked about how stinky he
did.
was.
He got
I
transferred to night shift because of his barefootedness. And...
Right. I just want to bring this up. That continued his whole life. I did a little bit of
yeah.
He was
I didn't
always
go
stank.
away.
He always stunk.
They
and
ever
he-
stink.
But his whole fruitarian diet, there's a misconception that when you're a fruitarian, you don't smell because of the things you put in your body. It's totally wrong. Of course you smell.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have the same mucus buildup. I'm very mucusy right now because I have a cold and I eat cheese. But these fruitarians believe they have no mucus, which is kind of true, but they still stink to high hell. He hated showers, and that's hilarious to me. He's like a baby boy. You got to put him in the sink and scrub this $8 million man.
Yeah, with a toilet brush.
Like, if I had that much money, I'd just shower for a week. No one stop me.
If I had that much money, I'd probably be like, hey, fix this cancer.
It's like the world.
Yeah. Hey, guess what?
If I had that much money, I'd be alive.
You know what I'm going to say to $1 a year? Pshaw.
Get me a Hot Pocket.
Bring me back with a sound effect, Tom.
All right.
Give me a wet one. Yeah.
And that concludes the roast mortem coverage of one Steve Paul Jobs. Any closing remarks, gentlemen? Fruitarian is evil.
Yeah, don't do that.
But eat your veg, eat your meats, eat your fruits.
Yeah, well balanced diet.
Grains. You need your grains.
Hey, grain.
And your breer.
Anyway, so thanks for tuning in to the Roast Mortem Podcast. I'm Tom Saltman. You can follow me on Twitter at Sauntcht, SAUNTCHT.
I'm Travis Lee. You can find me on Twitter at Travis Legion with 2 E's.
I'm Cody McCann. You can find me on the twatters at Cody McCann, CODYMCCANN.
And if you like our podcast, fucking subscribe, give us 5 stars, and you can find us on Twitter as a collective at Roast Mortem Cast.
Hell yeah.
Do it up. Tell us why you don't like Steve Jobs or why you do like Steve Jobs. We want to know.
Danky Shane, amigos.
Thank you, Shane, for
Danky-
fucking listening.
Danky Dick Shane.
See you next week.
Hey, if you like what you just heard, we'd love to hear back from you.
Hey, dumb idiots.
Yeah.
We want to hear your feedback, and we'd love to know if you have someone that you want us to roast or whatever. Just want to tag us on Instagram or Twitter, or you can email us. It's all roastmortemcast. You'll find us.
Oh, yeah.
At Gmail.
Yeah, Gmail.
Well,
No, we use Hotmail.
We don't accept
No,
we don't
do
use
not
we don't
use
use
Hotmail.
Hotmail.
No
If you don't
Hotmail.
use Hotmail,
Oh,
can't
Gmail.
change that.
If you don't use Hotmail, just end it.
And we'll do something fun with your names. Should you include those, we'll set up a fake obituary
In your honor.
in your honor. Fake one. We're not going to actually kill you. And this is going to be the stylized roast mortem cast shoutouts that you can be a part of.
Yeah, you get a little tag at the end of the episode. And if you don't want to like say your name for whatever reason, like you're one of those people that just like jerk off in your basement all day, and you just like have no social functions, you can send us a DM or something with your name if you want your name out there.
Yeah.
Or else we're gonna use your fucking handle, which is probably like jerk me off.
Yeah, you
Boy,
can give us
69.
a pseudonym. We'll make fun of anything.
Yeah, good time. So thanks for tuning in again.
Yeah.
Love you.
Pienso en ella, aunque no piense en mí.